Introduce our next keynote, partly because I've known him for a while, a good friend, but broader than that, I love his message, and it's about digital leadership, and it's about essentially the business of social. Broader than that, he's an accomplished author. He wrote the book Socialnomics and Digital Leader, wrote the book What Happens in Vegas Stays on YouTube. And you guys probably know him from a YouTube video he did about 5 years ago called Social Media Revolution. It's my pleasure to introduce our closing keynote today, Erik Qualman.
All right. All right. Let's go. Thank you, John. Hello. So, like a lot of you, I travel a lot. I actually have a black card from American Airlines, which is above Executive Platinum. Does anyone else have a black card in here? Yeah, you don't really want one of those. That means you travel too much. But I was sitting next to a guy that was super nice, older guy, and we're talking for about 20 minutes. I go, what do you do for a living? And he goes, well, I'm a musician. And then he didn't know all of a sudden that I'm going to just go off for 10 minutes about if you use social and mobile, you can really get your name out there. This is what Justin Bieber does. This is what Lady Gaga's done to really grow their brands. And then this nice lady comes up and asks for an autograph. And so I'm super excited because no one really recognizes an author on an airplane. But she didn't want my autograph. She wanted 5-time Grammy Award-winning James Taylor's autograph. And I'm looking at my watch going, okay, 3 more hours to LA. Was I just going, James, if only you use social and mobile, maybe you'd have some success out there today. But hopefully what I talk about today is really relevant for your business. You guys are all tech related, so I'm kind of preaching to the choir. But when it comes to this stuff, sometimes we're the worst at using these tools, even though we're the most tech savvy. So I'm going to cover 3 things today. I'm going to cover what exactly is socialnomics. I'm also going to cover off digital leadership, how all of us need to practice the 5 habits of digital leadership. And let me caveat by saying that even though I wrote the book, every day I have to remind myself to practice these because I'm not perfect at practicing the 5 habits that all digital leaders practice. And then last but not least, I'm going to look at some trends that are happening out there in the space that are hopefully relevant for your business. So make sure you put the prism and the lens on for your particular business to figure out, okay, how do I leverage what they're doing for what I'm trying to do? And so as John mentioned, I'm going to start things off. This is the 5th version of the video that I wrote 6 years ago. It's the most watched video about social media in the world. And so I'm just going to start this off, and then we'll talk about it.
Right here, right now, 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 right here, right now.
All right, when I wrote that 6 years ago, I didn't realize I was going to have to update it 5 times. It's kind of a pain in the butt, but it's actually a nice problem to have. But a lot of people will ask me, how do you make something go viral? And if I knew the answer to that, I'd be the richest guy in the world. So we don't really know exactly what makes things go viral, but you can give yourself an advantage or give yourself a chance for things to go viral. Number one, if you're trying to do a video for your company or your brand, is it's probably been done before an execution on YouTube. Every minute there's 100 hours of video uploaded to YouTube. So before I did this, I looked at other videos that were similar to what I was trying to accomplish and looked at the music that they used and which ones were successful and which weren't. And there seemed to be a couple that used that Fatboy Slim track, so that's why I used that music. So it gave me a higher chance for success. Also, a key is to make sure you don't talk too much about yourself. And so actually my publisher, when I first did this, because I was trying to launch a new book, is they said, well, that video sucks. And I go, well, thank you for the honesty, but why do you think it stinks? And they go, well, you don't like talk about the book or yourself. How's this supposed to sell books? I said, that's the exact point. I'm trying to provide value. It's the second layer of selling and where I'll sell a book, but I need to provide value first. So that's the biggest hurdle that most companies and startups run into, is they try to talk about their company too much rather than taking the viewer's perspective first. Last but not least, try to keep it as short as possible. 57% of people leave a video after the first 30 seconds, before the first 30 seconds are up. So unlike a story, which has a start and an end, you need to start with your headline first. So you need to get their attention and try to keep them. So that'll give you a chance for something to go viral and get your name out there. Ironically enough, when I was testing this out, I didn't know if they're going to scrub the music. So I actually did it on a test YouTube channel, Socialnomics 09, rather than Socialnomics or rather than Qualman. And all of a sudden, the thing went massively viral over the weekend. So now I've been stuck with Socialnomics 09 forever. And YouTube can't tie them back on the back end. I know people at YouTube, they can't even get it on the back end. So it's something to be aware of. Also, as entrepreneurs, you know this better than I do, sometimes you can actually pivot quickly. And so I started getting a lot of calls from Fortune 500 companies that said, hey, can you do a video like this for us? And the first, I'm not a very smart guy, so the first 3 times I said, no, I just do these for my own brand. And then by the 4th time I said, oh yeah, we can do that. We've got a whole studio that can do that for you. And so then we had to figure out how to develop that studio, so we sold it, and then now we have a studio. And the aha moment for me, or the great moment for me, is when Disney called. I had to put the phone down and go, wait, just repeat that. You, Disney, want me to do some animation for you? And they said yes. And so that's been quite a wild ride to where now we derive revenue just from producing videos that originally we started to do just for ourselves on a very shoestring budget. So some of you guys have big budgets, others you have small budgets, but everything that we try to do is on a small budget. So that was kind of small inbound marketing stuff. So obviously we don't have a choice on whether we do digital. The choice is on how well we do it. And what is Socialnomics? At a 10-second level, when you're 6 months removed from here, someone says, what's the word Socialnomics? All it means is word of mouth on digital steroids. That's all it means. Or for some of us in the room, we're not even thinking global right now, but we can take our company global because now word of mouth is world of mouth. And it's a beautiful thing if we use these tools correctly out there today. Also, we need to understand with Socialnomics, it's already here. And so in time, every product service is going to have a rating. All of us in this room are going to have ratings as well as individuals. And it's already happened in the fastest moving markets, which are travel, leisure, entertainment, and automotive. Digitally, those are the fastest moving markets historically. And so if you look at TripAdvisor, not only do I get 100 ratings and reviews for a hotel in Cabo San Lucas from people that I don't know, but now I get 10 ratings and reviews from my friends, people that I do know for that hotel. And I trust those more. At least I trust 9 out of 10 of those friends, because we all have those guys that have terrible tastes. So trust 9 out of 10 of them. So that's what Socialnomics is. Understand that everything in time is going to be rated, which is a good thing for all of us that are doing things well, because then that's the word of mouth gets out for us. We don't have to have the big marketing budgets to get it accomplished. And all of this goes to the next level when we think about wearable technology like Google Glass and how they have Google Contacts. So that now all of that word of mouth on digital steroids just goes to that next level. And in the meantime, as companies, how do we take advantage of these technologies? And so some of you guys have seen this clip from Pepsi using NASCAR driver Jeff Gordon. So he's one of the best drivers in the world. And so they disguise him to take him into a car dealership for a test drive, and he's wearing this Google Glass during this test drive.
Glasses cam to show you everything that I see.
How you doing?
Hello. I'm Mike.
Steve, nice to meet you, Mike.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Nice and easy. We'll just head on out and whenever you're ready.
Are you ready to go ahead and,
Yeah.
and drive? Okay.
Yeah, sure.
Oh. Whoa.
That's all right.
A little more than I'm used to.
Yeah. Oh, it's got some power, so just get a feel for it. Okay. Okay, all right. Ease off just a little. Ease off. You are liable for any damages to the vehicle, so please stop the car, or at least slow down. Slow down. Slow down. You can't go through that gate, Mike. Stop! Stop!
Watch it! Watch out!
You're gonna wreck this car, and you're liable for it if you wreck it. Mike, stop the car! Stop the car right now! Get up here! Yeah! No, oh my God! Just take us back. Oh, no,
You all right over there, Steve?
Oh, you're an idiot. I'm going to kill you. Oh, stop. Oh, God almighty. Who the f*** do you think you are?
What do you mean?
I'm calling the cops.
No, you don't understand. It's not what you think. It's not what you think. No, it's just a prank. We're just having fun. Look, this is a camera. Here's a camera. There's cameras. Look, it was all just fun. Look, I'm Jeff Gordon.
So they did a good job with that. There's actually a follow-up if you want to watch it on YouTube where he's disguised as a taxi cab driver. But everything I'm going to talk about today, it's not designed to replace face-to-face. It's just there to augment it when time and distance are an issue. You cannot beat face-to-face, whether it's with a prospect, whether it's with a client, whether it's like right now. Like I could be on Skype behind here. It's just not the same experience. So all these tools are designed to augment it when time and distance are an issue. Now, if I'm you, so obviously I'm a founder of my own company, entrepreneur, so I'm sitting there going, man, I'm super busy. Just give me the magic pill. That's good you're showing videos, but I just want to know what's the magic pill? What's the answer? And the good news is it's stuff you've already been doing. That's why you're successful. And really it just gets down to it's less about technology and it's all about relationship building. And it's about listening, interacting, reacting, and then sharing. And a lot of you are sitting there going, damn it, I heard this in 2009. Why are you going over this again? And I'm going over it because only 4% of the companies that I consult with do it. And the reason they don't do it is it's a pain in the butt. It's hard work. Developing relationships, whether it's offline or online or both, is hard work. It's about listening. What are they saying about me, my product, my service? It's about interacting. It's about joining that conversation. And most of us, and most companies, and most small businesses, and most entrepreneurs are good at those first two steps. Where we all drop the ball is the third step. What are we doing about it? If 90% say they love something that we're doing, are we having an emergency meeting to figure out how do we do more of that? Or conversely, if 80% hate something we're doing, are we trying to figure out how do we mitigate that or get it out of our product, our service, or our company? Then last but not least, it's about sharing that information or sharing the value that we have. Now all of us, myself included, all companies start off using social and mobile and they try to sell first right away. And it doesn't work. And it doesn't work because it doesn't work in the offline world. So imagine out here at lunch, if you saw 5 people having a great conversation and they're laughing, and all of a sudden you walk up and go, excuse me, can I interrupt you for 5 seconds and tell you why I'm great? That's not going to go over so well. And it doesn't work in the digital world, but we forget that when it comes to our brands and our companies because we're trying to get that quick buck, we're trying to get that quick customer, and it doesn't work. Now, I love the fail shirts because all of us fail, and all of us understand we need to fail fast, fail forward, fail better. That's the key to success, right? Fail fast, fail forward, fail better. So recently, if you look at this cooler on Kickstarter, It's broken the records in the last 2 weeks for the amount raised on Kickstarter. They're over $11 million for a cooler. $11 million for a cooler. But the reason I'm showing this is because this campaign was unsuccessful 10 months ago. They tried to raise $125,000 for the same cooler. It looks a little different. They did a couple of design changes. But they ran this campaign just 10 months ago, and they didn't reach their $125,000 goal. They got to $101,000. So they understood it's about failing fast, failing forward, failing better. They didn't give up, and so they came back and adjusted it. And here's, I'm just going to show 2 minutes of their video they produced. But this, 2 weeks ago, became the top grossing product and service on Kickstarter.
That's the sound of a cooler coming down off the shelf. It's the sound of imminent fun. So why haven't cooler designs changed in almost 50 years? Boring coolers are boring, break easily, and are a pain to get to and from your destination. I wanted a cooler that was really well built, yet had so much fun built into it that I would look for excuses to get outside and enjoy it. So I created the Coolest. The Coolest is a complete redesign of what a cooler can be. First, you've got this 18-volt rechargeable blender. You don't realize the number of places you could really go for a blended cocktail or smoothie until you've got a blender built right into the lid. You're already carrying around a cooler full of ice and tasty beverages. Why not blend them up and become a summertime hero anytime, anywhere? And what's a party without music? The Coolest comes with a removable Bluetooth speaker that connects to any smartphone to wirelessly stream music from up to 30 feet away. It's amazing where speaker technology has come in the last few years. You can skip songs and adjust the volume right from your phone, and this little box can really put out some sound. And since you've got that 18-volt battery for the blender, why not get the most out of it? Maybe your camera battery is low, or maybe you have an iPhone and want to use it after 2 in the afternoon. Recharge your gear wherever you are with this waterproof USB charger. The party doesn't stop just because the sun goes down, and you shouldn't have to freeze your fingers searching endlessly for your favorite drink. The Coolest has waterproof LED lights embedded in the lid so you can easily find what you're looking for with the push of a button. One of the biggest hassles of outdoor fun is hauling your gear back and forth from the car, and I've experimented with various ways to solve the problem. I love coolers with wheels, but I hate that they refuse to help carry anything else. The Coolest has you covered with locking tie-down bungees, so you can carry all your stuff in just one trip. And what about getting organized to go out in the first place? The Coolest helps out almost like a picnic basket to make sure you always have a few key essentials with built-in storage for reusable plates, cutting boards, and this awesome rust-proof ceramic knife. Plus, the removable divider gives you a whole new level of flexible packing options. You can pull the drain plug on one side, and your Coolest can stay dry and cool just like your refrigerator. Say goodbye to soggy sandwiches.
All right, I'll stop it there. You can watch the whole thing. Has anyone funded that? Did anyone fund that? A couple people in here. But it's interesting. They tried that 10 months ago, and it didn't work. They didn't get to their level. They got to 101,000. Now they're at 11 million. And really the main things, all they did was change some of it so basic. They go, well, we decided to launch the campaign in summer. That seems to make sense. Also, the main difference is they didn't get buy-in from their main supporters before they launched this. And a lot of us fall in that mistake. I've done it myself with one of my books. I was trying to cram it and get it done and pushed out before the holidays. And the publisher was saying, do not do this. We need to get the sales by it. I said, no, we need to get the holiday sales. And actually, they were right. I pushed it out too fast. So some of us try to do that. We don't have the buy-in from our supporters. So that was the main difference. And the other thing they did is they just focused on the coolest features. They focused on the features rather than why you need a cooler like this. They just focused on the features. They assumed that you needed a cooler like this. So those are really the 3 changes. So the margins are very razor thin between success and failure. And so that's what they understood. Fail fast, fail forward, fail better. They made a couple tweaks, not many, but then it was a huge difference on the change just 10 months later. We talk about listening. Why don't a lot of people do it? Because it's hard. And so if you know Gary Vaynerchuk, he goes from selling $4 million in wine to $50 million in wine, entrepreneur, now he's all over the place. Gary Vaynerchuk. What does he do? It's all second layer of selling. And that second layer of selling is just listening for it out there with these social and mobile tools. So whatever tool you want to use, my favorite's Hootsuite. But what am I doing? What's Gary Vaynerchuk doing? He's listening for wine. Who's watching his wine library show? Because the videos don't sell anything. Gary's videos don't sell anything. It's about his engagement that sells stuff. And this is why companies don't do it, because either their employees aren't fully bought in, they're not working on Saturday or answering quickly social and mobile, or they just don't want to roll up their sleeves and do the hard work. But the great thing of hard work, it keeps your competition out. So you guys in this room understand that, so it's fantastic. Whenever something's hard, it's going to keep the competition out. So all you do, and some of you guys know this, all you do is listen for key terms. So for me, I'm listening for the name of the video that I showed you to start things off, or my name, or Socialnomics. So anyways, Chris, this guy on Twitter, just posts, "Thanks, Dad Equalman, for this awesome video about social media." So what I used to do is I'd reply back and go, "Buy my book, Chris, buy my book, buy my book." But I've already talked about selling first doesn't work. So instead, I'll reply back and say, "Glad you liked the video, Chris. If you need more data like this, it's in this book." Chris replies back, says, "I didn't know there was a book, I just bought it." So there's your sale, there's your return on investment. And then also now I've got an engaged customer. So now I favorite that piece on Twitter. And then in a couple weeks later, I'm going to reply back to Chris and go, "How are you enjoying the book? Whether you like it or hate it, please post a review on Amazon." So now I get a review. And then when I launch a book a year later, I'm going to reach out to Chris, just like the Coolest did to reach out to their supporters before they launch something. And so that's what it's all about. It's a long-term investment, but it pays off. It doesn't matter what you're selling. Some of you in this room might be B2B. It doesn't matter. IBM does the exact same thing. They look for two words, RFP, and what that stands for, request for proposal. And just by doing this second layer of selling, they've increased their sales for that particular segment 400%. So for IBM, that's millions and millions and millions of dollars when we're talking 400%, just by listening for those two key terms and providing value to the people that are typing those terms out there, whether it's on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, wherever they're posting that. All right, so those are the basics of Socialnomics. But now I want to talk about, we're all digital leaders, but how do we make sure that we instill ourselves and make sure that our employees are digital leaders, or that we remain digital leaders? And so for 3 years, we wanted to know, are digital leaders made, or are they born? And obviously they're made, otherwise it'd be a very tiny book. But we wanted to know, what are the 5 habits that all digital leaders practice? And since we get bombarded with information all the time, we try to make it easy. It forms the acronym STAMP, because all of us have a digital stamp for ourselves and also for our brands and our products or services. We all have a stamp out there. And the stamp's comprised of 2 things. It's your digital footprint. That's a term that everyone in this room has heard. That's anything that we upload about ourselves, our company, product, or service. But the more important piece is that digital shadow. That's what other people post about us, our product, our brand, or our service. So as digital leaders, we want to make sure we produce our best stamp. And so when we think about the acronym STAMP, it all starts with simplification. It's really not about adding stuff, it's about taking it away. And so how many of you, by a show of hands, think you're pretty good at multitasking? Yeah, I got my hand raised. You know, we have to be good at multitasking, right? We're founders. But then when I started doing the research, and some of you guys might know this, but I didn't know it, is actually we can't multitask. Human beings can't multitask. Our brain doesn't parallel process things like a computer. We're actually switching tasks. So there's a loss in efficiency. So here we are. What are we trying to do? We're trying to beat Father Time, even though Father Time's undefeated. And so to do that, we try to multitask. And the irony is, we're actually being less efficient. We're doing the exact opposite of what we're trying to accomplish. In fact, in the moment that we're multitasking, our IQ drops 10 points. Now, I don't know about you, but I can't afford to lose 10 points. That's the equivalent of not sleeping for 36 hours, which is twice the impact of smoking marijuana. Now, I'm not saying to go smoke marijuana. It's just a good mnemonic to remember that multitasking has that impact on us when we're doing it, because our brain has to decide which task is more important, and that switching task has a loss in efficiency. Now, a little detail on that, that's when you're using the same part of your brain, the creative part of your brain. But if you're doing a manual process, whether that's feeding a baby or washing your car, it's okay to multitask in that vein, because you're using 2 different parts of your brain. What I'm talking about is you're trying to bang out that email while you're trying to hold that meeting for your team on the phone. That's when you're using the same part of your brain. You're actually becoming less efficient. It causes health issues. Anyways, it's all about that simplification. How do we simplify? And a good business that has a simple model, which a lot of us know, but I want to talk about why I'm showing this video in a second, is the Dollar Shave Club. And so I'm going to play the video and just talk about it for a second.
Hi, I'm Mike, founder of DollarShaveClub.com. What is DollarShaveClub.com? Well, for $1 a month, we send high-quality razors right to your door. Yeah, $1. Are the blades any good? No. Our blades are f***ing great. Each razor has stainless steel blades, an aloe vera lubricating strip, and a pivot head. It's so gentle a toddler could use it. And do you like spending $20 a month on brand name razors? 19 go to Roger Federer. I'm good at tennis. And do you think your razor needs a vibrating handle, a flashlight, a back scratcher, and 10 blades? Your handsome-ass grandfather had 1 blade and polio. Looking good, pop up! Stop paying for shave tech you don't need. And stop forgetting to buy your blades every month. Alejandro and I are going to ship them right to you. We're not just selling razors, we're also making new jobs. Alejandro, what were you doing last month?
Not working.
What are you doing now?
Working.
I'm no Vanderbilt, but this train makes hay. So stop forgetting to buy your blades every month and start deciding where you're going to stack all those dollar bills I'm saving you. We are DollarShaveClub.com, and the party is on.
I know karate, I know jiu-jitsu, and drive like a gangster when I'm coming to see you, see you, see you, see you.
All right, so that started, and they've been able to achieve in less than 3 years 5% of the market share in razors. And now Gillette has their own subscription-based model like this. But obviously they face their challenges, their hurdles. They launched the whole company with that video. And the biggest issue they faced was people were writing in, "This is hilarious. You should actually start a company like this." And they're like, "No, we are a company. Please buy our razors." The other thing they wrestled with is that even though they're very new, they didn't think mobile first, which you've seen Facebook run into that problem. A lot of us have run into that issue, that even though we're new, we're not thinking mobile first. And so they're getting 45% of their traffic to mobile, and they can't take the orders properly on mobile, even though they're this brand new company. So they definitely face their challenges, but they're still doing very well, and they're just keeping the model simple, simple, simple. All right, we need to be true to our passions. And so sometimes we don't know what our passion is, and that's okay. We're sitting there going, "I don't know what my passion is." I'm stressing out because everyone in the room knows their passion. If you don't know what your passion is, there's 2 ways you can find out. At the end of each day, just write down what made you the happiest and why. Or you can set up alerts in your smartphone 5 times a day. Just put it on silent, but have it vibrate. And stop what you're doing, write down what you're doing, and write down how does it make you feel. And over a couple weeks, you'll be able to figure out what your passion is. But as founders, you probably know what your passion is. But if you don't, or your wife doesn't, or your spouse, or your partner, then that's the way you find it out. But what I want you to do, and this is something that a lot of companies fail to do, and a lot of individuals fail to do, is starting today, you can start processing it in your mind right now. I want you to write out in 140 characters or less, what do you want your digital stamp to be as an individual? What do you want people when they Google 5 seconds from now, 5 years, 50 years, 500 years from now, what do they want? What do you want them to find? And also do that for your company. And so if you have that digital compass in front of you at all times, it's going to help you reach it and achieve it. And it needs to be that simple, 140 characters or less. So over the next couple of weeks, start to vet that out, figure out what that is. For your company, you should always be able to answer 3 questions. Walk around the hall and be able to answer the 3 questions. Everyone should answer them the same way. It's, what's the mission of the company? The second thing is, how do we differ from our competition? And the third question you need to ask is, if we went away tomorrow, what's the loss to society? And so those are the 3 questions you want to ask. What's our mission? How do we differ from our competition? If we went away tomorrow, what's the loss to society? The reason you want to be on the same page on those 3 questions is because essentially your customers and your clients are taking your brand, and they're going to take it to the next level. So you need to be on the same page if you have a chance in heck of your customers taking it to where you want it to be, or your clients if you're B2B. All right, A is for action. Nothing happens without action, so all digital leaders understand the first thing they need to do is to take action. So it's all about the output versus the throughput. Yet, a lot of us, we're super busy, we fall into the throughput trap before we even know it at the start of the day. So how many of you, when you woke up within 10 minutes, had actually interacted with your smartphone in some form or fashion? So a lot of times we can fall into throughput right away, the throughput trap. And that's your texting, your tweeting, or maybe this is your team. Maybe the issue isn't with you, it's with your team. Texting, tweeting, you're emailing, you're posting, you're super busy, you worked hard, but at the end of the day, you have no output. You have zero output. And it's really all about that output. Are you designing that dress? Are you writing that business plan? Are you calling those 3 prospects? And so the simplest way to do that, and it was a little discouraging for my book, Digital Leader, because at Amazon I can see how many highlights happen. As an author, I've got access to what's the most highlighted passages in the books. And this is by far the #1 most highlighted thing in the book. And again, it's a little discouraging. I'm like, wow, I got all this new cool stuff. But they did the most highlighted passage, something's been around forever. And all that is having you or your team write down each day what are the 2 pieces of output you want to get done. And it's a learned practice, right? So I start doing it. I write down I can do those. They'll take me 30 minutes. And then all of a sudden at the end of the day, I don't have either one of them done. And I know some startups I work with, they have huddles to where the team just gets together for 5 minutes, like a football huddle, and each person's going through what was the output they were supposed to produce the day before, did they get it done, and what are they trying to do today? Those 2 pieces of output to make sure they have it front and center and they're getting that stuff done. And to showcase how little throughput matters, so I was the head of marketing at TravelZoo. When I was there, it was the top performing stock on the NASDAQ. So things are crazy, just like they're crazy for you. I was getting about 1,200 emails a week, which is about average, probably about average for this room, 1,200 emails a week. So I was going on vacation. So when I went to go on vacation, I go, well, if I go on vacation, it's not going to be a vacation because I'm going to have my smartphone. I'm going to have to answer all these emails and texts. Or I come back and I've got 1,200 emails and texts I have to go through. So that doesn't sound like fun. So I'm like, how can I change the game here? So instead, what I do is I put in my out-of-office reply through Outlook, made it look like it was coming from the email server. So I just said, hey, thanks for your email. This server is temporarily full. Sorry for the inconvenience. If your email is very important, please resend it on October 1st. That's when I was coming back. So I come back. I've got 1,247 emails. And I was sweating a little bit, but I definitely just hit Control-Alternate, delete. Deleted all the emails. And I thought the world was going to end. I was pretty anxious for the next couple of days. But we know the end of the story. The world didn't end. How many people resent the email? 8. 8 people bothered to resend the email. That's how little throughput matters. It's a procrastinator's dream when it comes to email and tweets because it feels like we're working hard, or our employees feel like they're working hard by doing that, but that throughput doesn't matter. It's all about the output. All right, now when we're acting, sometimes we'll make mistakes. So if we look at the Red Cross, what they decided is like, we can't handle all these tweets and texts. We need to enable our entire organization. We can't just have it coming from the 5 people in marketing or the sales department. We need to have everyone that can answer a question actually reply through our handles, our social handles. And so, of course, what happens? Immediately dumpster fire, right? Someone makes a mistake. They hit the wrong button. They think they're hitting their Hootsuite personal button, but they hit the button that sends it out on behalf of the entire Red Cross. And this young lady posts out there, Ryan found 2 more 4-bottle packs of Dogfish Heads minus touch beer. When we drink, we do it right. Hashtag getting slizzard. Now what's cool here is that the lady didn't get fired. She's about 25. She didn't get fired because they had a dramatic increase in donations. Actually a record amount of donations the week this happened. And partly it was due to, because the benefit of having everyone comment as well, that's the downside, is that within 4 minutes someone across the country posted, we've deleted the rogue tweet, but rest assured the Red Cross is sober and we've confiscated the keys. So the beer company got involved that was mentioned here. They said, hey, instead of drinking a pint of our beer, why don't you donate a pint of blood or donate some money? Huffington Post, you know, The Guardian, New York Times, they all picked it up. Free Public Relations, record donation week for the Red Cross. And what that is, it's all about being flawsome. It's really through our flaws as a company or as a business we can prove, or nonprofit, how awesome we are. That we care enough to fix the mistake. So if you look at FedEx, when they have an issue with a client and they resolve that issue, that client's 3 times more likely to repeat as a customer than someone that never had an issue in the first place. Now, I'm not saying for us to go out there and make problems for our customers so we can fix them, but it's our opportunity when there is a mistake, and we're all going to make them, that we show we care enough to fix it, because now we have a much more loyal supporter long term if we take the time to do that. And I was sitting down with Tony Hsieh when we were doing some research for some of the books. He's the CEO of Zappos. He's got a fantastic book if you read it, Delivering Happiness. I recommend you all read his book. So they have the same policy as the Red Cross. Anyone can kind of interact through Zappos' handles. I said, Tony, come on, that sounds great, but there's got to be some knucklehead moves from people in here that just post stuff that you can't believe. And he says, yep, that happens about 5% of the time. And what we do is we use it as a learning moment. We have a wall of shame as you walk into our headquarters. Now keep in mind, they have tours that go on throughout the day, so this wall of shame is front and center. And so they will post and blow up anyone that does something stupid, whether it's replying to all on an email or does something out there on social media that doesn't make sense. And so they use it as a learning moment for the entire company, and those people go on the wall of shame. All right, M is for map when it comes to stamp. We all need to have a firm destination in mind, but we also need to be flexible in our path on how we get there. And so as we look at a company like Wheat Thins, how many of you guys buy your crackers online? Okay, I figured we have some nerds in here, so it's good, yeah. So, and I mean that in a good way. So some of us buy our crackers online, but really 98% of the world still goes to the store to buy their crackers online. It's not a digital sale. So it could have been easy for Wheat Thins to say, well, that's great, you've got this social, mobile, all this cloud, fantastic, but we sell crackers. But instead they go, well, why don't we go out there and listen and figure out, are people talking about crackers? Turns out a lot of people talk about crackers online. And one young lady, she posts, oh, I'm out of Wheat Thins. My life is officially over. And I know you busy people are thinking, man, I wish I had her life. It sounds pretty easy. But Wheat Thins, they decided to react to it. They listen and react, and then this is their reaction to that.
This one's hilarious. Ah, I'm out of Wheat Thins. My life is officially over. Kind of dramatic. Tabitha.
Yes.
Okay, do you recall tweeting, ah, I'm out of Wheat Thins. My life is officially over.
Yeah?
We got a hold of that. We just want you to be sure that you're aware that we have plenty of Wheat Thins. And that's for you. That's just a gift.
That is a lot of Wheat Thins. Oh my gosh.
Everybody in the van, let's go. In the truck. You take care, all right? Come on, boys. Who's next?
The other thing we need to realize too, whether it's with our investors, whether it's with our team itself, whether it's with our partners, is that we're going to get pushback, right? We're trying to do some innovation here. We're pioneering. And so instead of getting frustrated, get fascinated, understand, I am pioneering. Of course they're not going to understand what I'm talking about the first couple times. And if you're not getting pushback, that's a signal that you're probably not disrupting enough. You're not innovating enough. So again, it can be frustrating in the moment for all of us. We've got to remember that means we're pioneering. You don't use old maps to get to new destinations. So it's important for us to realize that. Then last but not least, all digital leaders know that success doesn't happen alone. For hundreds of years, there's 2 things that drive the success of any business, small or large. It's number 1, getting the right people on the team. And the second thing is word of mouth. We already talked about word of mouth on digital steroids. But it's all about making sure that we network before we need that network. And the beautiful thing is, a lot of us make the mistake of trying to network when we need the network. But we need to develop that well before. And you guys know that. That's why you're here. But it's easier than ever to post it forward. So yeah, you've got to make sure you're having those meetings. Don't forget those lunches, that face-to-face. But now you can take 10 seconds on LinkedIn to endorse someone. Or use the hashtag FF, Follow Friday, on Twitter to just show someone that you respect them. And you need to be genuine in it, but that's the easiest way to carve out just 5 minutes of your day to make sure you're posting it forward. Because then when you need the network, it's there for you. And the third thing I wanted to do is just talk about a couple trends, and then I want to open it up for question and answers. So a couple trends that excite me. I'm going to send this out to you. This is just a sheet of tools you can use to listen, interact, react, and share. So I'll send this out. Most of them are free tools that we can use to be better at what we do as a company. But the first trend is, again, getting back to mobile first. By 2017, 2/3 of all consumption on the mobile device is going to be video. So it's important for us to understand that now. And so this is a new technology out there that's taking advantage and thinking mobile first. And this is going to help us read faster. So it knows, how do I take advantage of this different screen that we have here? So this is, I'm fortunate, I'm a sitting professor at Harvard and MIT's edX Labs. So I'm able to see some of this stuff, that's crazy stuff that's going on down the hallway. And so some of you might have seen this because it was on 60 Minutes recently. But this is how they're looking at reading differently. And then if we go faster here for a little bit. All right, so you get the idea. So they're thinking mobile first. LinkedIn, I'm not going to go into too much detail here. LinkedIn, it's probably your best way to get ahead as a small business. Is everyone's focused on Instagram, all the sexy stuff, Facebook for our companies. But if you dig in and just focus on LinkedIn, again, the #1 key to success is getting the right people on the team. Just hyper-focus on that. You're going to be well ahead of most companies because they're behind the times in getting adjusted and taking advantage of all the capabilities of LinkedIn. Customization is huge for Gen Y. So anything you do, if it's customizable, try to figure out how to utilize that. The other thing that we're looking at, obviously you've heard about the sharing economy. But if you look at Walmart, what they're trying to take advantage of is if someone's in the store buying something, they're going to start to pay the customers to deliver goods to your neighbor that might need something from Walmart. So that's the level we're going to here quickly beyond that Uber level. If you look at Uber, their company, they're starting to have drivers pick stuff up. Because they're a data play, right? They're not just a taxi service. They're going to be much larger than that. As a company, this gets back a little bit to the 140-character compass I talked about. This is hard to read. But essentially, you want to distill your company down to one sentence. And so these are all companies that are doing well right now. And what is it that separates them? So if you look at Google, their whole mantra is, in God we trust, everyone else bring data. LinkedIn, it's networking as a currency. If you look at Warby Parker, the eyeglass manufacturer, it's they send you 4 pairs, you get to keep 1. So allowing you to try before you buy. So think about that if that works for your model. If you look at Khan Academy or edX, if anyone has kids in this room, you should be familiar with Khan Academy and edX. It's basically free education online. So edX is the Harvard MIT initiative, and they've got 80 other schools, but it's free education. Now, I'm not going to go through all these, but if you look at Zappos, their main change was they took their $40 million of marketing and put it into customer service because they knew that customer service was going to drive that word of mouth. So it enabled their customer service agents, if someone had any issue less than $100, if a customer had an issue less than $100, that person, the customer service rep, didn't have to talk to their manager. They could just take care of it because they understood that money was better spent versus traditional marketing. Put it over here in customer service because that's what drives the word of mouth. I'm going to end this with a video Just a 2-minute video that showcases all of us have a digital stamp as an individual and also as a company. It's all about making sure that we continue to be those digital leaders out there by practicing those 5 habits. So we'll roll this video, and then we'll get into a quick Q&A, and I'll be here afterwards in the hallway if anyone has an individual question. Thanks. Thank you. I'm actually going to take the Q&A out here in the hall, and I just want to thank you guys for having me in here. I really, really appreciate it.